6:41 in the evening. One line from the clinic, and you read it twice on the stairs with your keys still in your hand. Then the hour starts. You call 5 people, send a message you cannot unsend, and plan out a life that has not happened. Nobody is calm in that hour. What calm people do is a short list of ordinary things in order while feeling exactly this. 7 of them tonight, and every one is something you do with your hands. Here's the paradox. Your worst hour for judgment is the one you most want to act in, and inside it you feel sharp and urgent and certain. You are none of those. It is a surge, and it lies to you because the same chemistry that sharpens your hands narrows your head. No incense touches it, and be strong is not a move. Pick these up in order. 1. The first 10 minutes. 90 seconds in, your thumbs are already moving. A reply, a search, a name in your contacts. A neighbor comes past with 2 bags, half stops and does not quite ask, "You okay?" You say yes because there is no sentence for this yet. Then you sit down and type anyway. What is in your body is not a feeling, but a preparation. Heart first. Then the hands go cold and everything but the threat drops out of focus. It was built for something across open ground, not a line on a screen. That is why your hands are useless for typing and perfect for walking. Run the cold tap over your wrists and you hear your own pulse from inside. 10 minutes on your feet is the rule I use, long enough for the surge to come off the top. The move? Give those 10 minutes to your legs. Coat on, out the door, around the block twice. You are waiting out a chemical, and the chemical does not care that you have a reply to write. Nothing typed, nothing sent. This one came off a flight deck, where the first 10 minutes belong to nobody's judgment. Not because pilots are calmer than you, because somebody measured what those minutes cost. Honestly, it holds a Tuesday evening fine, and the first thing you will want back inside is to read it again. 2. Read the words that are actually there. By now, you have read it 11 times and can quote the worst line from memory. Try the sentence before it, and notice that you cannot. You were not reading by then. You were pressing on a bruise to check it still hurts. Narrowed attention takes the worst clause it can find and treats everything around it as agreed. We should talk about your role on Monday arrives as a firing with a date on it. You read it standing up, and you can hear the refrigerator. An unfinished sentence is unbearable to a frightened head, so the head finishes it. And the fastest ending is always the worst one, because the worst one needs no evidence. Here is the move. Read it once, out loud, slowly enough to hear the boring parts. Then say 2 sentences to the empty kitchen. This is what it says, and this is what I added. What landed on you is usually 1 line long. Everything else you wrote yourself, in a stairwell, in the last 20 minutes. 3. Who you tell and what you ask them for. Your thumb is hovering over 5 names. Your mother, the friend who always answers. At the far end of the shelter, a woman is telling somebody about her day. Telling somebody takes the pressure down, then puts it back before the call is over. Nobody mentions what it costs. Every time you tell it, you are choosing words. The ones you pick while your hands are shaking become the version, the one you repeat all week, which means you are writing the story of this while you are least fit to write anything. You also carry their reaction on top of your own. 5 calls is 5 frightened people and 5 futures to talk somebody else out of. Your move is 1 call instead of 5, and it opens with the sentence that saves it. I do not need advice yet. I need 20 minutes of company. Say it before the news, or advice is what you get. It is what frightened people hand over. Telling one person is the easy part. What your hands want next is the expensive one. 4. The decision you badly want to make right now. 40 minutes in, and you are drafting. The resignation, the call that sells the car. It is the clearest you have felt since 6:41, or rather, the clearest you will remember feeling. It is also the most expensive 20 minutes of the hour, and you will not see that until Thursday. Doing something is the fastest relief on offer, and the bigger the something, the more it gives back. There is a complaint that follows this tool around, and the tag is worn soft from handling. Sometimes you do have to move fast. Honest tag and true. Well, mostly true. Almost never inside the first 60 minutes. Honest complaint, and the tool still checks out. Draw it again. So, the move. 1 line, the whole rule. Nothing you cannot undo before tomorrow. Say it out loud to the person you called. Mine says it back flat. Nothing tonight. Promise me. I broke this one myself. Sent it at minute 9. Got about 90 seconds of relief, then spent 3 days undoing it, because relief and being right feel identical in there, and I could not tell them apart. Nobody taught me that. I paid for it. That message was never the worst thing I did that hour. It was where I went next. 5. How far into the future you are allowed to go. Somewhere around minute 40, you leave this evening and turn up 3 years out, the house already sold. In 1 hour on a staircase, you have lived through a layoff, a move, and an argument that never happened. You are as tired as if all 3 had. A frightened head goes far out for one reason. Out there, nothing can be checked. 3 years out cannot be looked up or asked about, so nothing you imagine there gets contradicted. Your coffee went cold an hour ago, and you are still sitting there. And run an invented scene enough times, and it starts to feel remembered. Because your head does not file where a picture came from, only how familiar it is. Move then. Stop the future 24 hours out. Everything past this time tomorrow is rehearsal, and it can wait, since none of it can be checked tonight anyway. Then name what happens between now and then. 3 things with a time against each on the back of the letter. Call the office at 9. Eat something. Sleep badly, which is allowed. Which leaves the questions nobody can answer yet. What do you do with those? 6. The questions you have already answered on their behalf. Most bad news is one certain fact and a stack of things nobody knows yet. A man across the waiting room is doing the same thing, and neither of you will mention it. By minute 50, you have answered every item in that stack without noticing. Every answer you invented is worse than the fact you were given. For most people, not knowing is harder to sit with than knowing something bad. A known bad thing can be handled. You plan around it. You start on Monday. An open question keeps pulling you back, which means the head closes it with whatever is nearest. At that hour, the nearest thing is the worst one. You catch yourself holding the paper by one corner. Now you are grieving something nobody has confirmed. Your move. Find the one question whose answer changes what you do next. 1. The rest are weather. Then name who can answer it and the earliest hour you can ask. The clinic line opens at 8. I call at 8. And if it is bigger than 1 bad hour, that is a different kind of help. Calling it is also a move. After that, when your head answers it for them, you have somewhere to put it down. And then it is 9 at night and you still have not eaten. 7. An hour has to end, and the person who lived through it has to be fed. 50 minutes in, nothing eaten since lunch. Tea cold on the counter, the phone hot in your hand. And here is what nobody warns you about. Every hour I have watched go badly, mine included, went badly in the second one, not the first. That surge runs you hard, then drops you flat. Nothing in you, no sleep coming. A body in that state reads everything as more dangerous than it is, because empty and unslept are 2 of the inputs your head scores danger with. That is the state the second call gets made in, the one that cannot be taken back. A kid at the register asks how your evening is going. You say fine. You are not weak at that point. You are unfed, at 9 at night, making decisions about a life. Here is the move. Eat something that needs no decisions in it. Bread and cheese standing up counts. Drink a glass of water. Then give the hour an end, out loud, with a clock time on it. At 7:41, I do the next ordinary thing. The dishes, the backpacks, the walk to the store for milk. An hour with an end on it stays an hour. Without one, it becomes the whole night. Open the box. Top layer, the one you grab first. 10 minutes on your legs. Under it, the paper. Read out loud what it says apart from what you added. 1 name, not 5. The rule that fits in a breath. Nothing you cannot undo tonight. The future, stopped at this time tomorrow. The one question and the hour you can ask it. At the bottom, heaviest, the piece everybody skips. Food, water, and an end time. 7 pieces, and not one makes the hour smaller. They keep it from spreading. It comes from jobs where people meet the worst hour of somebody else's life for a living. Flight decks, operating rooms, ambulance dispatch. They all ran into the same thing. Trained people miss steps they know cold under load, and experience does not fix it. It is unfair, and the reason is plain. Load eats the working memory first, and skill sits on top of it. So they stopped trusting judgment in the first minutes and started reading off a card. Oldest version I know is 2,000 years old. A man who had lost nearly everything, still doing the next ordinary thing before dark. Same instruction, worse century. Walk your own hour through once now. Same stairs, same keys, same neighbor with her 2 bags. And this time, the phone stays in your pocket. Calm is not a temperament somebody was born holding. I spent years believing it was. I was wrong. And I was wrong for one reason. I was watching the face instead of the hands. I mean it. Every calm person I have seen in a bad hour was frightened and did ordinary things in the right order anyway. That first hour still does not care how strong you are. From tonight, neither do you. It counts what you did, and you know what belongs on the list. Whatever landed on you today, at some point tonight, you will be at the sink with the tap running, doing the dishes like a person whose life is carrying on. It is carrying on. That has been true of every hour that ever frightened you, including the ones you were sure you would not come out of. Take one of the 7, the first, the 10 minutes on foot, and use it within the next day. Something small will land, a bill, a short message, a no. Then leave me the minute you nearly broke it down in the comments. Subscribe if you would rather have this kit before the hour than during it. Next time, why you keep explaining yourself to people who already made up their mind.